I think we're ready to go ahead and start the meeting. Tom? We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. We will start off with the roll call, and then we will have the approval of the minute. Here. Here. Okay, we now have the approval of the minutes. I do have a question on the second page, the last paragraph. The second sentence says the health department has stated have set the parameters. I'm not sure what that meant. The last paragraph, second line down, halfway over, the health department has stated, second page, second page. They have set parameter. Oh, okay. Okay. And then a little bit lower down, Tom read the 3 questions, and there's a T right after the word question. Anybody else have anything they noticed?
Motion to accept.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The first case that we have, we don't have a case number, Tom, is that just a,
Yeah, it's permitting only. There's not really a case.
okay. Okay, and Jeanette and Jody Cole, would you like to come up and just give us a brief summary?
I'll give a quick review of what we need to do. This is actually the first permitting process that we've done with the new code. So what an applicant does, they have a copy of the code, they look through everything. Yeah, mine's
Your
on.
voice is as bad as mine.
Mine's on, so.
Hey, Tom, you have to hold up the close, people hear you. Because you're so short.
Okay. Gee. So the applicants submit their application. They have reviewed all the criteria for the setback of the coop, how they take care of refuse, feed, everything that they need to do in order to get the permit issued. So there's no question about how many chickens they're going to have, where the location of the runs are going to be, whatever. They do that. Then parts of the CAU process we follow by notifying the surrounding neighbors up to 2 parcels away, 660 feet, whichever is shorter. If there's no objections, then the permit is automatically issued. The purpose of this hearing is to hear any objections from anybody and an opportunity to maybe work out any differences that they might have on setbacks. I have received 1 letter in support and no letters in opposition.
Okay. So do you want them to share?
They can if they want to.
Would you like to?
What would you like us to share?
Yeah, if you have any questions, but the package is pretty extensive. If you remember everything that you saw in the ordinance, and they have completed the filing correctly, paid their fees. So no one's here to object, so. 8672 North Mechanicsburg.
We did talk to all of our neighbors prior to even starting this process and got their approval before we even started that. So we didn't think we'd have any issues with it.
I'm
Are
just curious, what kind of hens will you have?
I'm gonna have Rhode Island Reds, Rhode Island Blues, and Plymouth Rock.
Anybody have any questions?
Are you gonna have roosters?
No, we're not
Okay.
allowed to.
Gonna have
Yeah.
eggs.
We're gonna have eggs.
Okay, anybody else?
You gonna be selling any eggs?
Am I gonna sell the eggs? I don't plan to. I plan on giving them to our neighbors.
Okay.
And I think all you have to do is just thank them for going through the process, and we'll issue this tomorrow.
Oh, we don't need a, okay.
You can all vote on it if you want, but I don't know that it's required for a permitting process where they've.
We
got all the
we could just do voice vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like what we talked about the may versus shall, so long as they meet the criteria that we have to approve it and they met the criteria. So kind of takes it out of your hands, but we can go ahead and
You want a motion or no?
Yeah, the motion and vote.
I make a motion, we approve this.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Calls tomorrow.
Okay, then the next case that we have is the submission of the final plat and subdivision agreement for Ashbury Fields, which previously was known as Sam Hall Estates.
I think some people from BCT are here. This is the final plat right here. I had it here and we were going to put it on the wall, that there seemed to be some technical difficulty and we couldn't get it to work right. There haven't been any changes since you saw the original plat. Here's a secondary and final plat. You can look it over if you want to look at it. Really, the only thing that changed is the name. There's some signatures that the president and vice president have to do. If you approve it here, we take it, Steve wants to see it again, the surveyor, and look at the drainage calcs once again, and get an official, I guess he hasn't done that yet, is get an official sign off from the drainage board. There is a place on here that calls for that, and I asked him, I said, did you do that? And he said, no, I guess we really need to do that. So they need to get an official sign off for that. The plat gets signed after it. We don't think that's a problem. It's just a little technicality that they need to do. And then we'll present it to the commissioners. And I don't know if Lance, if you have anything to add or talk about the phasing in of the project or time scope or
Not
what
really,
questions
other
I
than
may
we're
have.
looking to start pushing dirt next month. And it's been a long time coming. I feel like I know you guys. Yeah, it will be. And we'll, like I say, we'll be doing it and we'll be doing essentially the civil infrastructure in 3 phases, the housing in 4. Which is what's set up with the TIF that we've got. That's the way that they've set it up. Essentially 14 houses a year is what it amounts to. And we anticipate that the first houses will start next spring. We'll have the civil infrastructure done to the extent that they can start building.
Question.
Yeah.
2 things really. I forgot where you decided the entrance was. Was that off 3 or off
It's
of,
off of 200.
off of 200?
Yeah.
And secondly, price range, I don't know if it was in here.
250 to 350.
250? That sounds like the going thing right now with what the other places they're talking about.
Yeah, that's what our goal was, is to be able to get it in that range, and looks like we're gonna adhere to that.
Would it be all right, because Steve is new, you guys are new, they haven't seen this plat? Maybe
Yeah,
it would be
yeah.
nice to lay it out so people.
Yeah,
can
you can
take a
look at it now if you want, or look at it afterwards, or.
Would you like to look at the plat before, or do you want to wait till after the meeting? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so is there, you just need us to approve this then? I'm,
Yeah, you need to vote on continuing the process, taking it to, signing that, if you all agree to it. If everybody wants to look at it, to signing, accepting this plat, because we have to sign it. So
Okay.
we accept the final plat on the condition that it meets the final review and then go to commissioners.
Honestly, because I am somewhat familiar because drainage board and everything else, so I
Yeah.
didn't need to look at it right away.
So the motion is going to be to, we need to sign this and
Yeah,
then.
to
we
accept
Accept it,
the final plat, yes.
okay, and except for the final review with the drainage board, is that what you said?
Yeah, we have to accept it, and it's signed by the president and vice president of the board.
Okay,
I
There's,
make a motion for them to continue. And good luck to them.
All right, thank you.
you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
you'll see some supplemental information. You'll see a maintenance agreement form, and that'll be signed by the commissioners. It's just for your information that shows about the maintenance of the roads therein, trenches, pipes, manholes, structures, et cetera, that they have to take care of for a period of 3 years. And then there's a subdivision improvement agreement form, which gets signed by the planning commission and the county commissioners. You can read through those if you want. I don't think we need to read those into anything, do we? This is just boilerplate that comes right out of our code. They just filled in the blanks. And they are guaranteeing this through the TIF bonds that were issued.
Done with us?
I think
All
that's
righty,
about
thank you.
it.
Thank you. To go on unfinished business, or do you want to sign after the meeting, or do you want to sign us to sign during the meeting?
Do what?
Do you want us to sign? the
Oh,
final
we'll sign it afterwards.
After,
Yeah.
okay, then we will be moving on to unfinished business.
I don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything from the past?
Then we will move on to new business, and Tom, I think you're up.
You'll see a letter from Ryan Whitley, requesting information and an exchange of information about a proposed new cell tower down around Dunreath. In looking at our code and coordinating that with the state code, it appears that our code is a wee bit outdated. As we keep finding out, there are things in that county code that are that don't comply with the state code. So he pointed those out, and I have included, just a sec.
Can I interrupt just for a moment?
Sure.
You made a motion to continue, is that right? Does that mean that this gets
Continue with the
held off till
process.
next month?
No, it goes to the drainage board.
Okay,
They'll make their little agreement, then it goes to the commissioners.
but we're okay to move forward.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah,
that's
you
what I
can
was
do-
trying to determine.
you can do what you're gonna do there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
thank
Yep.
you. Pardon? Thank you.
So one of the things that they didn't, that was in conflict, they want to build a tower that is there's 290 feet, no. Yeah, 295 feet. And our code says that it limits us to 199. And then there's a separation distance between wireless support structures. In this particular case, they're all outside the range anyway, but he did point that out. And then our code says that you have to, if there's a structure available that would work, you have to share the tower, which the state code now says you don't have to share the tower, and we can't compel them to do that. So that's, the first one is their letter and the maps of where they want to put things. Now, this hasn't gone through any permitting process or anything yet, because we have to change our code in order to be compliant. And then the next section is the state code that he references. And then the last section is our code. And you can clearly see where our code is in conflict with the state code. So I guess all I'm asking for is to continue research on this and make modifications to our code. And when we do that, they'll come back to you and we'll vote that in, and then the commissioners have to pass it because our code is an ordinance. Sean might have something to add. That is what's highlighted under the state code, under this sheet here. That's what the state code is. And I think what we'll probably just do is just reference the state code.
Yeah, insofar as insofar as it conflicts with any code, we would kind of find those things and then make sure that our ordinance is in line with what the state code is. So really, this is more of I view it as a housekeeping thing, but ultimately it's your recommendation. We're not the deciding board that like Tom said, it would go to the commissioners once you review that. But insofar as our ordinance conflicts with state code, my position, and I think Tom's position, is that we should clean those things up and make sure that they're compatible with what the state authorities have. We can make things that are more restrictive isn't the right word. I'm trying to search for the right word, but basically we can tailor our own ordinances to meet our own needs. Just in this instance, and ultimately it's your recommendation, yay or nay, whatever. And we don't even have anything to present tonight. We're just talking tonight, but ultimately, I think for something like this, and Tom and I have discussed a little bit, it just, for it to conform to the state code just seems to be cleaner, make more sense.
Yeah, and I
Since
don't
it's a-
disagree on this.
Yeah,
So it's just kind of
yeah.
a general question
Yeah.
for my own edification.
We can have higher standards than what the state standard is for something. I'm trying to think of some examples. I'm kind of blanking on that now, but basically if the state says, some sort of setback has to be X number of feet, well, we can make that even more restrictive and have those longer setbacks for whatever it is. So we can do that. It's just a matter of, for this particular instance, would it make more sense for it to conform to the state code or not? And ultimately, that's your call. But again, you're the recommendation. You're not the body that makes that into the ordinance. Ultimately, that's the commissioners. We're just making recommendations.
No, I got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
So we don't have to make a decision today, right?
No.
Because I'd like to.
No, it was just a point of that came up, and we felt like we just want to make you aware of that, just in case it's on the agenda next time.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business you need to go over, Tom?
Not really. There's a couple of things you'll notice. There's a sheet there. It looks like this one. And this is just to notify you that pursuant to Indiana Senate Bill 0242, all people that function as a floodplain manager had to go through a certified floodplain manager course by the end of that had to be certified June 30, 2025. So I finished that course and took all that in March. So we have I'm a certified floodplain manager in the eyes of the state now. So I thought you needed to know that in case somebody says, you guys need a floodplain manager. Well, you got one. You got one. The last sheet I thought is just it's a fold out, and this is the stated value of permitting that my office did in 2024. So it's kind of interesting to look across there. I thought it was interesting to look under stick-built houses. In 2024, there were a total of a dollar value, stated dollar value of $10,901,000 of value in new houses, stick houses built. And if you divide that by the number of units in stick-built houses, that comes to 302,821, which is right in that range where BCT is targeting their houses. This kind of just happened to be, that's right in the middle of that range. So that it looks like they're targeting the right market. So, this is for your, you can keep this and look at it. We'll do another one here. When we get to 6 months, I'll have the 6 months of this year. I will tell you that some of these items are trending up in units, but the value may not be increasing. So some things are done, but we didn't really have more money coming in. They just did more of it. With the exception of stick-built houses, which has an erratic trend, but it's generally slightly up. You can't identify a trend out of any of this other stuff. It's just all over the place. I know if you just take certain sections of these, you can pick out certain areas that continue to grow. Last year was a pretty big year in pole barns and storage facilities. And this year we've done a lot so far this year. Housing for the first 6 months is going to be pretty good numbers. We got an application in today. Stated value of that house was 957. 957,000, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, we have several that are touching that $1 million mark. Well, a lot of these a lot of these houses, the higher end houses that are being built, those are people coming in from out of the county. Not necessarily. There's two pockets. Part of them are around Knightstown, or I really need to say the southwest quarter, that corner of the county, and the north central and northeast part of the county. That up there is people coming, some out of Delaware County, but a lot of people are escaping Anderson. And they get as far away from Anderson they can and still stay in the county. So a lot of activity up around within 3 miles, 4 miles of Moreland, a lot of activity up in that area. And then the other activity is a lot of it in the southwest part of the county. Kind of where you'd think it'd be.
Hey, Tom, the last column, generators, solar.
Yeah.
It's just home units, out of curiosity.
In this particular one, yeah, none of these. Yeah, we didn't do any, well, we didn't separate it, but yeah, but I don't,
Improvement to commercial property.
yeah. And I don't remember any of them being, commercial or business oriented. Yeah. And we got a lot of people putting generators in their backyards, and we have a lot of people doing it very expensive. It's not hard to spend $100,000 on a solar project for your house. A lot, yeah. No, when they see that there's a ban, they just go away. Oh yeah, they call, but they don't come in anymore. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they talk to a lot of people. They are talking to a lot of people everywhere. But you know, they ask questions. When are you going to change that? Steve. Yeah, but we get 2 or 3 calls a week. And that's been constant. That hasn't changed in years. That's constant. Now, we don't get very much inquiry about wind anymore. It's all about solar.
So I want to say,
No, I haven't heard anything from the state and haven't heard anybody, no one from that area has called and asked about it. Not in the last, 6 months at least. Now, I don't know that, County Highway didn't talk to them, but we haven't heard anything.
say Duke Energy's planning one east of town.
Pardon me?
Duke Energy's planning a fairly
Yeah.
sizable one
Yeah,
east of.
I'm sure they
Newcastle.
are. What's interesting about that one is, it's a development by Duke.
Mhm.
So we can't do anything about that one.
I'll say as far as utilities, they're
They're-
federally
yeah.
regulated and we have no say so.
And they're a generator, and not a company that is developing a solar facility for sale to someone else. If our commissioner here wanted to, and that he's the type that would want to develop a solar field and then sell it to Duke, sell that energy to them, he can't do that. But Duke can develop their own, and that's the matter between the state and the feds.
It's an actual, there is no future solar development in Henry County, period. That's where that wound up. It was a total ban. Yeah. Because it's a private utility and utilities can do it. REMC can do it. Duke Energy can do it. These little towns can do it. And they can put up small solar farms or whatever they're doing. Yes, yes. They can't take up thousands of acres of farmland away and put them up.
Okay, anything else?
I think the state legislature, it's Kennan. There's one bill that we had a review on last week, and I think if you have a moratorium on solar, you have to do some addressing of that to the state. So I'll get with Steve, but that was mentioned at that conference. They passed something because there's so many moratoriums, you had to justify that or answer questions to the state. Not that they're disallowed, but they want some more information. Apparently, they're getting pressure from the energy companies.
Thank you, Kenan. Anything else? All those in favor?
All right. Oh, sure. Yeah. Take whatever you want.
Randolph County just, I think, approved another 47 between Randolph, Henry, and Wayne.